I, 28M, am scared of my girlfriend, 27F. Hi everyone. This has been eating me alive. Every time I think about it, I get chills down my spine. My girlfriend and I have been in a relationship for 1.5 years now. She means everything to me. About 6 months into the relationship, everything seemed great, and we decided to move in together. But from day one, something felt off. At the time, I didn't have a high-paying job. My salary was around 55,000 rupees, INR, per month. I knew I couldn't do everything for her, but I still tried. I bought her gifts, spent money on things she liked, and never asked for anything in return. Being the elder son, I also have responsibilities toward my parents and help them whenever I can. She often taunted me, saying things like, "Who would marry you with this salary?" and that she was sacrificing everything just to be with me. Over time, she started hitting me, slapping me, throwing things during fights. That deeply affects me. I grew up in a hostile environment, my parents fought constantly, and I faced disrespect in many places growing up. That trauma has left a lasting mark on me. Because of that, I avoid conflict. I lie sometimes, not to betray her, but just to prevent fights. For example, if I buy something small for my parents, I don't tell her because I know it might trigger an argument. But when she finds out, we fight badly. She often says she never asks for anything, but when she likes a costly sari, wants to eat at a fancy place, or desires something expensive, I always try to fulfill it, even on a tight budget. She never discusses her salary or expenses, but the major burden of running the house falls on me. And it's not easy managing everything in a Tier 1 city with limited income. I've spoken to her about this many times. I've reminded her that when her family or friends weren't there for her, I was. Whether it was taking care of her during serious illness or handling her anger and insecurities. I thought that maybe earning more would fix things, so I worked hard, switched jobs, and got a 200% hike 4 months ago. But somehow, the fights still continue. Every argument breaks me a little more. It re-traumatizes me. I feel like I'm reliving my childhood. I love her, no matter what. Everything I've done has been with the hope of making her happy. But lately, I just feel used. I don't know how to deal with this anymore. You are trapped in an abusive relationship. Plan an escape and leave ASAP. This is not love, you are only repeating relationship patterns you know from home. Save yourself and get away from this person. Get out. Get yourself to a safe place now. You don't love her, that's your trauma speaking. More importantly, she doesn't love you and she's endangering you. Your home is supposed to be a safe space. You may love your girlfriend but she doesn't love you. In case you need it, you have permission to leave. It sounds like you've been giving everything, emotionally, financially, and mentally, while being met with disrespect, emotional abuse, and even physical violence. That's not love. You're not weak for wanting peace or avoiding conflict, but your partner is exploiting that kindness. Raising your income didn't solve the issues because the root problem isn't your salary, it's the lack of respect, empathy, and emotional safety. You've carried enough. It's okay to choose yourself now. You deserve a relationship where love isn't earned through suffering. Wholly abusive relationship Batman. Leave, there are many better women out there. WTF. You seem to be so used to abuse that you're just accepting it. Your girlfriend is unlikely to change. The best thing you can do is end the relationship and work on yourself so you don't go for an abuser in your next relationship. Boyfriend 28, M and myself 29, F. Is this normal behavior? I just recently started a new job, literally like 2 days ago. I just got word that I am required to attend a 2 to 3 day conference in the summertime and they pay the overnight stay at the hotel. I voiced this to my boyfriend who works in a big finance corporation, and he said that is so unacceptable and unprofessional. We have been together for 6 years and now he is saying that if I attend this conference that I'm required to attend, we are going to have to break up because he does not want me to stay the night at a hotel because he thinks it's very unprofessional and he cannot fathom the idea of it. I am so shocked with this response and can't fathom he actually said or thinks this way. Like why? I am actually very hurt that he wants to throw away our 6-year relationship over a work conference. It's almost comedic but not. I really don't know how to even process this. Is anyone who would break up with you over a work conference someone you want to spend the rest of your life with? This is not normal behavior. I think this is your BF's out. I think he doesn't want to continue the relationship and just doesn't want to tell you, so he said this instead. I think it's time for a new BF. Sounds like he's just looking for a reason to break up. I'm sorry, is he insane? Most higher-level white-collar jobs involve conferences and hotel stays. He's a fucking tit. My job has 2 annual conferences plus travel in between. My husband texts me asking what yummy room service I'm getting and how I rate the pillows. Rolling on the floor laughing. Find someone like that. 2 hearts. Your boyfriend sounds extremely controlling. A lot of jobs require travel and staying overnight. First of all, how TF is a required work conference that countless companies have been doing for decades unprofessional. Second, if he's willing to break up over something that you have no choice in short of quitting your job, then he isn't worth staying with. My 42M wife, 42F, gets really angry and controlling around my family. My wife gets very angry and controlling about food choices, and it is interfering with my family's ability to participate in events with others, such as my visiting brother. This first became such a big issue when my brother and Sil, who live in another state and visit infrequently, were in town for 4 nights a few months ago. They stayed with my parents, who we see all the time. On one of those nights, they decided to get Indian and of course invited us. Afterwards, my wife was furious that they chose a place she didn't like. She said it was so mean of my parents to do that because they know Indian isn't her favorite, she only likes one dish. Private to me, she insulted my family for being rude about food and said they don't care about her. Fast forward to today, and again my bro and sister-in-law are in town. I was hiking with them and my parents' wife was not there. This is relevant. And we talked about what we'd eat tonight. 4 options were tossed around, and the last 2 standing were Indian and a wood oven fireplace. I said, let's do wood oven fireplace because my wife doesn't love Indian. Everyone was cool with that. After the hike, I tell my wife we are going to the wood oven fireplace she loves for dinner. She becomes furious that she wasn't included on the conversation. Mind you, it was a casual one and I didn't think it important enough to call her at work. Also, I don't like making phone calls in the middle of the woods. She was upset partly because we talked about her preferences without her there. I mean, isn't that okay to do as her spouse? For context, we've been married 5 years and have a child. The question: how do we move forward in a way that makes us both feel satisfied? I fear I will grow to resent her if she requires my family, including visitors, to only go to places she picks. Yet, I know as a spouse I need to compromise. I tried to ensure we went a place she liked and it still wasn't good enough. How do we strike a balance? I know she probably sounds insufferable, but really this is the only thing she gets this unreasonable about. Too long did not read. Wife tries to control where we eat with my family, parents, brother, Sil, and is furious when she isn't the one to choose the place. How do we compromise in a way that is fair? I don't think this is about food. Repeat after me. My parents and brother, Sil, are going out to eat at XYZ. They invited us to join them. I want to go. Are you interested? If she wants to stay home alone, that's her choice. Why does your wife think every meal choice should be her preference? It appears that if she doesn't choose, then she's angry. You even advocated for her to get the wood oven place, and she still wasn't happy. Because she wasn't involved in the actual conversation, she's mad, even though her preference was considered, and it's actually a choice she would have made? Does she do this when people are cooking a meal themselves in their home and you're invited to join? Does she ask what they're cooking and suggest changes, or is this only with decisions for eating from a restaurant? This doesn't happen often, right? Are you not able to have a discussion with your wife, not an argument, and ask her what she needs to be happy in these situations, and then determine if you're able to do those, or come up with some kind of compromise? Does she act like this with other people or just your family? Are there other issues with your family? She sounds super insane. Hope this helps. You say you see your parents often. Does your wife have to decide where you eat every time you go out to eat with them? Or does she allow others to have opinions? I'd ask your parents in a moment alone and see what they say. You might be surprised at how controlling your wife is. My 29F boyfriend 29M cries quite a bit. My 29F boyfriend 29M of almost a year gets kinda emotional somewhat easily. I don't find it annoying at all. I just don't understand, I guess. 2 examples. The first time we were intimate after a few dates, we were laid in bed and I was cuddling with him. He was laying calmly, or so I thought. Then after about 5-10 minutes or so he began to shake a bit, then he started to sob. I asked him if he was okay, and he said he was okay, but feeling a lot of emotion. He began to cry lightly, but he tried to remain composed. I held him the rest of the night and he eventually calmed down and passed out. One night a few weeks ago I was at his place for dinner and the evening was normal. After dinner he cleaned up and I guess I surprised him in the kitchen. I said, "Thank you for dinner, lovely," and he said, "No worried, most beautiful." I pulled him in for a kiss and we embraced for a moment. He looked at me afterwards and we both smiled. But I realized quickly his face was like a mix of fear and something, I am not sure, but tears went down his face and he basically lost his legs. I sat with him on the kitchen floor for almost 30 minutes comforting him. Afterwards he was okay, just a little quiet and didn't want to leave my side. There has been at least a dozen or so instances of this. It doesn't bother me at all, though it worries me some. I love him to absolute death. I am just not sure how to interpret this sometimes. He's very happy and so am I. We met on a dating app and clicked quickly. Our values align very much so. He is a little clingy, but I don't mind. I'm just worried this is a lot for him. He's had a traumatic life and is very isolated in his day-to-day. Maybe he's just extremely happy and this is how it comes out. Just looking for some advice. I've never experienced this before in a relationship. Is there anything I should be doing that I may not be? Edit. Thank you for all of the insights. It's been a long day at work and I will try to reply as best I can. Worst case I get back to you tomorrow. Thank you, kind strangers. Have you talked to him about his past and his family? Maybe he finds in you a love he hasn't felt before and it's overwhelming. It sounds like he feels safe with you, something he's not used to with anyone else in his life, especially if he comes from a trauma background. Happy emotions can be overwhelming and come out physically like he has demonstrated. He was traumatized and you gave him the love, which is a bit overwhelming, in a good way, for him. Maybe have a real talk about this? Sometimes when people with a lot of trauma find themselves in healthy relationships, they tend to not believe this wonderful thing can be happening to them. At the same time, when there are particularly beautiful moments, they are overwhelming because your brain doesn't know how to process what's happening at first, and when you realize it's a good thing, it can be emotional overload. Eventually, you will feel safe and emotions will settle. If they don't, therapy if talking about life is his thing. When he is in his emotional state, do you ask him to elaborate on what he is feeling? What brings on the tears? Is it appreciation? Is it fear of loving you so deeply and worried how much power you have over him? It sounds like he would have abandonment issues to begin with. Maybe that's part of it, a fear of losing you. Use those opportunities to talk. Help him to express those feelings and reassure him about them. I'm sure, in time and with trust, the tears will be less and less. A friend of mine experienced something similar and she couldn't figure out what was going on with her man. A couple of weeks went by and she texted me that she sat down with him for a talk. It turns out that he was so overcome with emotion because he had never felt or experienced love before. We're in our 50s. Her man had previously been married for 17 years and his wife never treated him with actual love and affection. His own mother never showed him love and affection growing up either. He had no idea what love was. His feelings were raw and foreign to him. Could this be the case with your boyfriend? It's worth having a conversation about. Maybe he's never felt loved before you came along.